Before we get going, please turn off your cell phones, if you would, please. We'd appreciate that. And if anybody wants to speak on one of our agenda items or call the public, please fill out a form in the back and give it to our staff. With that, I am going to open the City of Cottonwood Planning and Zoning Commission main meeting of Monday, January 24th, 2022 in the City Council chambers at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Garrison.
Present.
Commissioner Kling. Commissioner Kling.
Present.
Commissioner Shreve.
Present.
Vice Chairwoman Maston.
Present.
Chairman Williams.
Present. Okay, the next item is the approval of the minutes of the December 6th, 2001 special meeting. Do I have any additions, corrections, or we need to delete anything? Did anybody saw anything? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Okay, Chairman, I made the motion. Sorry. That's fine. Chairman made the motion. The Vice Chairwoman seconded the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. The next item is the election of Chair and Vice Chair. We're going to move that to the end of the agenda tonight. And we'll get on with our business at hand. We don't want to keep Mr. Backus waiting too long here and knowing what's going to happen here. So, Mr. Padgett, the floor is yours, sir.
Do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped right over the director. Oh, Lordy. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I just want to get off that page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commission. Good evening. Just a couple of things real quick. If you haven't been over by 6th and 89A, the Spring Hill Suites Hotel is coming right along. We're doing finalized inspections out there, kind of wrapping things up, so hopefully they'll be open in another month or so. So keep an eye out for that. We do have 2 open seats on this commission, so if you know of anybody who might be interested, they do have to be a city resident. And hopefully we can get those filled pretty quick. And for the commissioners who are still here and present, I'd like to ask that you tentatively mark your calendars for a joint meeting with the City Council Tuesday, March 8th. It'll be during one of their work sessions to talk about a potential project and the history of zoning on that project. So should be 6 p.m. Tuesday, March 8th. The location, I will let you know. And that's all I have.
That's all you have. Okay. So I'm okay to go on? Very good. Okay. Our first item is DR 21013, request for design review for a warehouse shop in the Airpark Way. I think we've seen these before, right?
We've seen something similar. Thank you, Chairman Williams, members of the Commission. Jim Padgett, Community Development Planner. As you stated, this is a design review request for an approval to construct a 12,600 square foot warehouse shop building. Subject site is zoned I-1, heavy industrial. And the uses that are proposed, obviously, would be a spec building, and all uses going in there would be required to meet the I-2 zoning requirements. There are 38 parking spaces proposed on the site, which is near Airpark Road and Airpark Way. At the cul-de-sac, the end of Airpark Way is where this is located on the east side of the road. As you can see, the building could be divided either into as many as 7 potential units based on their floor plan. floor plan is shown at the top and a little black and white sketch rendering down at the bottom. Their landscape plan does meet the landscape requirements. Most of the landscaping is out adjacent to the Airpark Way right-of-way with some residential uses on to the north and east side. There's landscaping and a screen wall proposed in that location. This is a color rendering of the site. Basically, it's a red with a gray tone. This is a shed that's actually on the property itself, and those are the colors. They chose to do the colors of the building in these colors here so that they can utilize this existing shed on the property and coordinate the building to match. Some pictures of the site as it exists today. These are all looking from Airpark Way as you would enter the property. And this is property looking to the sort of northeast. This is where the Inspiration apartment complex is under construction. You can see the equipment there. That's sort of the backside of the Inspiration complex. To the north, there are some mini storage units. To the south, a couple of similar type units that are as being proposed in this application. And that concludes what I have. Bob Backus is the applicant. He's here this evening. If you have any questions for him or if you have any specific questions for staff, I'm available for those.
All right. Do any of the commissioners have any questions of Jim?
First, Jim, the use for this, the warehouse shop, does it include like retail at all? Like if somebody like put in like a shop that was selling something like I think there's in one of the nearby buildings, there's a winery?
Yeah. Any use that would be permitted in the I-2 would be a permitted use. They would be limited in a sort by the parking. They have, for the warehouse use, I think it was 26 spaces are required, and they're providing 38 parking spaces. So they are a little bit, overparked if they did have some other use. They've got a little bit of a wiggle room there to provide the additional parking.
Okay.
I have a question about the shed. You said you were going to utilize the shed, but it's not shown on the plan. Is it going to be removed from the property, or will it be on the property somewhere?
The shed is proposed to stay on the property somewhere, then they'll be using those colors, just as an accessory building. I don't know if they have a specific location for that. That may be, okay.
Well, it's not shown on the plan where that shed is going to be. How big is the shed?
The applicant did say 20 by 20, so
Right.
I'll repeat
Now,
that.
we'll get him up here in a second. We can ask him a little more specific. Commissioner Kling, do you have any questions of Jim? Can't you hear me?
No.
No? All right. This is Mr. Backus. You want to come up and tell us about the shed?
Sure. The shed is just, it is just a shed sitting on a slab, and it will be moved because it's right where the building is going to go. But where's your little, can you put that plot plan up there for me? There it is. Okay, see that little square up there in the very front, that by the cul-de-sac? Right here. Yep, there, right there. We're thinking maybe that we'll go right over to the left hand of that, in that square area right there, because there won't be any power in it or water or bathrooms or anything. It'll just be a shed just for storage, because right now that whole complex there is being used for individuals who store equipment there. I mean, there's no place in town to put this kind of stuff, you know, their construction stuff. So we have a drywaller and a block layer that's going to be sharing that little corner over there. And so we're going to put that shed there because they're using it right now just to he puts extra drywall and stuff in there just to keep it out of the weather. That's all it's for, just to have someplace where he can put stuff out of the weather. And that's why we wanted to kind of keep the colors. Craig liked the colors, so we're going to just kind of keep the colors the same to go with that shed. And so that's kind of where it's going to go, is in that particular corner, but away from that. And then there's going to be a fence along there, and we'll screen that fence between the cul-de-sac and that building will be a screened, probably chain link fence, but it'll have the screens in it, so. Or the slats in it, so you can't see through it. Okay?
Okay. Any other questions?
You mentioned a tenant who's a drywaller and a block layer. Do you have any other tenants lined up, or is it all speculative?
Oh, it's all speculative, but it'll be filled up in 2 weeks after we're done.
Just for the record, I was asking about the tenants.
Okay, sure. No, that's fine. And we don't know. I mean, there are some wine people right now who are wanting some more cold storage. And that's the last buildings we done. We actually insulated these block buildings so they could use them for cold storage. And so we have some people that want some more cold storage. There, we have a list. We have a list, and we just fill them up as soon as we get the buildings done. They get filled up, but most of it is storage. I mean, the one particular one that you're talking about that has that wine, he's pretty temporary in there because he wants to build a winery out in Cornville. That's where his whole operation is, but it's like everything else, he can't get it done right now, and so he's using a couple of spaces right now just so he can manufacture there plus sell his wine there. And I never know who's going to go in to those places, but I know when he went in, he had to do a lot of stuff with the building department to make sure inside that building was what they needed for manufacturing the wine and that kind of stuff. So we do go back through the building department to take care of those kind of things that we need to do when we find out if there's a tenant that needs a special needs type of a thing. So,
Bob?
Yes.
In our write-up on that screen wall, it's talking about a 6-foot solid masonry wall.
Yeah, and that's the one item that I want to talk about tonight because there is already a 3-foot wall, and if you've kind of seen it in one of those pictures and it just kind of stopped, but you look at the end of that cul-de-sac, and when we see that on the right-hand side there, that retaining wall, it's only 3 foot tall. We built a retaining wall all along there except where the cul-de-sac was. That retaining wall basically is to control the water that comes down, so that we can direct it where it needs to go, which is a huge retention pond on the right-hand side over here that you can't see. When we built that, all the property there was zoned I-2, clear up till 200 feet from the highway. Now we've changed it to PUD. I don't see where I could be required. I mean, I have no problem with them building on top of that wall that's already there and put another 3 feet on top of it. And there's about 80 feet, I think, 60 to 80 feet left in there at the end of that cul-de-sac that they'll have to put a wall on. I don't want to have to put that wall up, and I don't want it tied to my certificate of occupancy, because when I built Silver Springs Garden Homes years ago, I changed the zoning. I was required, once I changed that zoning, to put hundreds of feet of 6-foot wall around that property to divide it from the commercial to the residential. These people have now changed this from industrial to residential. It's not a big deal for them, I don't think. They just need to finish that fence, but I don't want it tied to my certificate of occupancy. And I don't want to have to pay for it because the zoning there was the same as that zoning in mine. I was not required to put a 6-foot fence in when I built that originally. So the building on the right, that building's already there. Yeah. And so they need to add on to that. They need to fill it. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Jim? I just don't want it tied to my project that they have to build that wall or I have to build that wall before I get a certificate of occupancy, because when I started to build it, I didn't need that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to have a wall because the zoning, they changed the zoning, I think, which is fine with me, but I think that they need to then, they can put 3 more feet on top of the block wall that they got right there, easy enough, and then they'll have to fill it in, because right now they're dropping off on that backside. I don't know if you've been out there.
Yeah.
But they're dropping off 4 or 5 feet back down behind that, so, which is fine.
Right.
But I just don't want to be tied into that block wall have to be finished before I get certificate of occupancy, because I have no intention of building it.
Mr. Director, from when we approved that project, was there a wall? Are they building a wall?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commission, they do have to build a wall. As Mr. Backus said, they did change that zoning from I2 commercial uses to residential. So that separation does have to be there, but during that zone change, that wall was required. As if the apartments were existing right now on the zone that didn't have to change, and Mr. Backus came in to do this, he would be responsible for that wall.
Right.
But as mentioned, it was required for that apartment complex.
Right. So let me understand number 4 stipulation then. You're going to put up a 6-foot screen fence yourself?
No,
No.
no.
Okay. Even you said something about a chain link fence?
Well, you can see on the
Yeah.
right, there's about 300 feet across that whole area there. Whoop, did I just drop that? And there's about 8 that already has a 3-foot fence on it, all except about 80 feet of it.
Yeah.
So all they have to do is cut the chain link off the top of that fence
Right.
and lay another 3 foot of block on top of the fence that I already put in. I already put in the foundation and 3 foot of fence. All they got to do is make it 3 foot taller, except for that space where the white truck is. They'll have to do that whole thing.
Right.
I just think it's their responsibility to put the fence in, because they're the ones that changed the zoning.
All right.
Okay?
So you're not going to do it?
No, I'm not going to do
You're
it.
not going to, you were talking about doing a chain link fence with slats.
Well, that was a different one. That's along that side right there.
All right.
Yeah, that's right there.
Okay.
Acceptable to putting the chain, the slats in that.
Oh, I don't really care. Yeah, I don't care.
Just slats in the existing chain.
Sure, I don't care. It's whatever is easy, whatever is easiest for them, or whatever you think that's. We just got to you have to meet the requirements. Somebody always have to meet the requirements. The separation between the residential and the commercial. And if the requirement says it's a 6-foot block fence, then that's what they will have to do. But they can just add 3 feet onto that existing fence that I have.
Yeah, so
And they
we
only
just
have to go back to just
chain
where
link here and there.
that property line comes.
I just have to have the
Yeah,
word
right there. Right, yeah, it is. There's a spot there, so.
Mr. Chairman, I think we've got too many different conversations going on right now. We need
I
to,
apologize. Yeah, okay, so we did just that chain link around that shed is basically what we're talking.
Yeah. Well, what we're talking about is a block wall all the way along would be the west? Yeah, the west side of that property. There's a partial block wall there already. They may need to add 3 feet on top of the wall that's
Okay.
there, plus build another 80 feet of 6-foot tall masonry fence. They want to, I think it shows a gate in there someplace too, and I think it's just a walk gate. And I talked to them about that not too long ago, and I said, I'm not too crazy about having that gate come through unless, I guess it's going to be okay as long as we don't have, they told me they were going to be nice apartments and they're not going to be, I just don't want a bunch of people being able to walk through there if they're just looking for something to steal.
Yeah.
People walking through there and walking their dog or walking whatever is not a big problem.
Right.
And so they said that we could talk about that gate at a future point.
So you're intending, though, there is a chain link, you're going to put a little chain link fence along the street between the
Yes,
shed
on the
and
street. Yeah. Then there already is one. There's a chain link fence there. That whole thing is
That's already there.
it's already there. But we're just going to make sure that we screen it so that people don't have to
Screen it.
look in to
I'm
see
with you.
that stuff
Sure.
in that yard.
Okay,
We try to keep it nice. Most of the
okay. So we'll just talk about screening that little existing chain link fence.
Yeah, I just.
As a stipulation.
I just need that item 4 off there that says the wall shall be constructed prior to.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't want
we'll
that
just-
on.
We'll amend that to,
Yeah.
if everybody's agreeable, to a screen fence along Airpark Way on the existing fence, right? Screening the existing fence on Airpark, which is by your shed?
Yeah, I just think that needs to be part of their project.
No, I'm just talking the screening that you
Oh,
have
yeah.
on,
Yeah, right here, yeah.
yeah, right there, you're
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah, yeah,
that.
that's fine.
That, just a little,
Yeah, because all of the rest of that fence is coming
no,
down.
the rest of the fence would be their
And
responsibility.
we're going to take all the chain link fence down except that one little part there. So don't need it anymore once we build the building. Does it make sense? Clear as mud?
Right, yeah, I think we've got some wording, if we get to a motion, if we get that far, we'll bring it up and then we'll ask you for,
Okay.
if that's amenable, okay?
It's okay by me.
Yeah, okay.
Sure we
And
can come up with the words.
I think we're clear with staff that the apartments are gonna build a 6-foot fence between the two properties. So, that's good. All right.
Okay.
Okay, now, let's talk to commissioners. Let each one see if they have any questions. Commissioner Garrison, you have any questions? Commissioner Shreve, you got any further questions?
No questions.
Vice Chairman, you have any questions?
No questions.
Commissioner Kling, do you have any questions?
No.
All right. I think we've done enough to you. All righty. When we read this, we get to the motion, we'll stop there and before we vote on it, just to see if it's worded that you can understand that and we're all on the same page, okay?
Okay.
All right. Do I have anybody from the audience that wants to speak to this item? Not seeing anything, I'm going to close the floor to the public. Commissioner Garrison, your comments. All right. Commissioner Shreve, any comments on this project? How's your feeling, what we're doing?
I like the project. I think it's well needed. I did mention to the director earlier on that we should consider approving the use as it will be in the future, because it will conform to I-2 zoning, but those are going to eventually end up being individual businesses, most likely, correct? So if it's needed, we should recognize that it's going to eventually be more than a warehouse. It's going to be individual
But,
businesses.
yeah, that's allowed under the zoning, so we're okay. I think we're covered. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, that's Vice Chairwoman.
No comments.
Commissioner Kling, you have any comments, further comments on this project? Commissioner Kling, do you have any further comments on this project?
No,
No? All right.
no.
With that, then I'll entertain a motion, Vice Chairman.
I move to approve DR 21 dash.
No, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I move to approve DR 21-013 to allow the construction of a warehouse/shop building at 780 Airpark Way, subject to the following stipulations. 1, the project shall be developed in conformance with the development plans as submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission at the January 24, 2022 meeting. 2, the project shall conform to Code Review Board comments dated December 2, 2021. 3, the project shall comply with all building, engineering, fire department, airport, and FAA requirements. 4, coordinate with the developer of the apartment complex under construction to the north for completion of a 6-foot screen adjacent to common property boundary with residential use and around any fenced storage areas. The screen shall be constructed prior to certificate of occupancy for the subject site.
We don't want to screen that whole boundary line. It's just going to be around the shed on the street, I think.
Yeah, that's what she's,
Yeah, we just don't want to say, insinuate that it's going to be down that 6-foot screen fence is going to go down that entire property line. Because the developer is going to, of the apartment is going to put in a 6-foot wall on that property. Already.
Redact number 4. Let me do this again. Number 4, coordinate with the developer of the apartment complex under construction to the north for completion of a 6-foot screen adjacent to common property boundary where there is not a block wall constructed by the developer of the apartment complex and around any fenced storage areas. The screen shall be constructed prior to certificate of occupancy for the subject site.
Okay.
And then number 5, a certificate of zoning compliance documenting the completion of conditions shall be issued within 24 months of the planning commission action.
Mr. Backus, you want to come back up?
is there any way on that number 4, we can just eliminate me having to coordinate with the developer?
No, you're not. Just,
I don't need to coordinate with the developer.
No, you just screen that existing fence.
All I'm
you got
doing
there.
is screening that existing fence. What does that say right there? Storage? Yeah. No, and it's not there. The only thing I'm doing is this one right here, yep.
All right.
This is gonna be.
The wall, yeah.
Wall. It's gonna start back in here someplace. Right here, actually, he just has to start from right here and go that way, because this is all mini storage in here. They don't have to have a block wall between the mini storages and us, because that's I-2 as well. All they have to do is come from this point right here to the other side of, it's 300 feet.
Yeah,
Basically.
but your existing,
I'm only-
where's your existing chain link fence, right
Yeah,
there?
Right here. That portion of that fence.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Mr. Backus, I'm only including the word coordinate because you don't want to be putting the screen and the fence in the same place. So that's the level of coordination. Just, you're not on top of each other.
No.
I don't think you will be.
No, I don't.
It's on
I don't,
Airpark Way.
I mean, I'll be glad to coordinate with them, because what they'll have to do is cut that chain link fence off at the top of the block I already have there, so they can add another 3 feet of block on
that's a
top of it.
different matter.
But that's it, so. So I guess we can coordinate that, but I just don't want that, I don't want that fence being in there, and it has to be in there before I get my certificate of occupancy. I don't know how long it's gonna take them guys to do that job.
We're only asking for the screen part, just the screen. We eliminated the wall.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
good, you're good.
It's good?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anybody have any questions on this before we second it? Commissioner Garrison, you okay with one? Good. You're okay. I'll entertain a second. Second. Commissioner Garrison seconds the vice chairwoman's motion. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Kling.
Aye.
Commissioner Shreve.
aye.
Vice Chairwoman Maston.
Aye.
Chairwoman Williams.
Aye. Motion unanimously carried. Congratulations. See, we put you through that today. All right, our next item is a request for a design review for a warehouse showroom on 644 and 648 South Willard Street in the Cottonwood Business Park.
Thank you, Chairman Williams. As you stated, this is a request for design review approval for a 4,000 square foot storage, outdoor storage, covered outdoor storage area, and a 44,000 square foot, I'm sorry, a 2,500 square foot warehouse and showroom.
You ready to put the stipulations on?
Okay, the subject site on this is also I-2, which is heavy industrial. As I stumbled over, it's a 2,500 square foot showroom and a 4,000 square foot storage structure. The Structure is proposed to be used as an expansion of the existing plumbing warehouse. This would be the showroom and storage area.
Should number 2 be 35.5 square feet? It's 3750.
Okay.
The showroom is 25
Okay.
square feet, but you have storage in the building. Right.
Okay, 3,750 for the enclosed portion of the, so 2,500 square feet of the showroom area plus 1,250 square feet of interior warehouse storage for a total of 3,750 for the warehouse building. Access will be off of Willard Street. It will also have a common driveway and connectivity to the existing portion of the existing warehouse. And the new structures will be single story and be using the same color palette. Pass these around.
Yeah. Into that building.
The same color as the existing warehouse building. So the subject site is on the west side of Willard Street. The site plan, as you see,
Yes.
the 3,750 square foot warehouse and showroom, and the 4,000 square foot covered storage area. Landscaping will be adjacent to Willard Street and some internal in the parking area. This is a warehouse showroom, 3,750 square feet. I'll make sure I'm clear on that. And the subject site, this is looking at it from the rear of the site from Airpark, looking towards Willard and the subject site. Some preliminary grading going on. Property to the east across Willard. The existing Hughes warehouse structure. And property to the west is airport hangars that are under construction. So that concludes what I have to say. If there's any questions, I'm available. And the applicant, Tom Lefevre, is here also this evening.
Any technical questions of Jim on this? Anybody? Nope, everybody okay?
No.
Commissioner Garrison, you okay with Jim? All right. Commissioner Kling, any questions of Jim? Commissioner Kling, any questions of Jim Paget on technicalities? I'll assume that's a no. All right, thank you. Who's here?
Tom
All right.
Lefevre is the applicant.
All righty. Very good, sir. You want to come up and give us your name, please, for the record?
Yeah, Tom Lefevre, and owner of the properties.
Okay. Anything you need to add?
No, he pretty much told you what it was. It's just we're just gonna add into the yard some covered storage because the pipes that they got out in their yard right now are getting sun damaged. So he wanted a roof over some of it. And then a little tiny showroom that his sister's gonna come run. So when contractors bring their clients in, it's just gonna be set up with toilets and sinks in there. There's no finish. It's just a metal building with liner panel and that's it. And then you're gonna put their displays around it. So it's very small.
Okay. Very good. Commissioner Garrison, any questions?
Yeah, there's no drawings or plans in here for the covered structure. Is that gonna be, it says it's 15 feet tall. Is that gonna be a parapet around that or how?
It's just a single slope shade.
Okay.
That's there. It's made of 3 rigid frames. No walls.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, sir?
No. That's
Okay.
the only question I have.
Commissioner Shreve, any questions?
I agree with Mr. Garrison. Once again, it's not on the plan, so perhaps you can put it on the plan for
Sure,
for
yeah.
future.
I actually have it on my main set.
And we don't know how big it is either.
It's a 50 by 80. I thought,
It's pretty substantial.
Yeah, just, yeah, open shed, yeah.
it's on the yard plan.
The footprint is there.
Yeah, the footprint's there, but not the structure itself. I don't know.
Yeah, it's on the plat plan here, showing where it's going to be located. Maybe
Yeah.
Pick it up there for them, but
I think that,
right there.
Well, that says a fenced storage, open wall storage.
So the fence, we're gonna put a privacy fence around,
Okay, I see where it says roof now.
this is the fence, the fire gate for the fire department to come into the yard, but this would be a fence with privacy slats around this building like this. And we're opening the yard up, this existing fence now. We're gonna open that up, so it's just one big yard for them.
okay. Commissioner Kling, do you have any questions of the applicant?
No, thank you. I'm sorry, guys. It's very distorted on the phone here, and so I'm watching you on live stream also, which is a little bit clearer. So I apologize. I missed my cue earlier, but no questions at all.
Okay. Vice Chairwoman, any questions?
No questions at this time.
Yeah, I think you answered the one I was concerned
Okay.
with that shed.
In my book here, I do have the drawings of that roof system if you wanna
I
see
didn't
it.
see where it said roof.
Yeah, okay.
It's needed, I understand.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, have you looked over the stipulations for our approval? I don't think they're that extensive, but before we entertain a motion, have you seen the
No.
motion for approval with the stipulations? Jim, you want to give that, have him take a quick look at these? Yeah, I didn't get one to pay. She got one.
Am I the only one?
Yeah, you're the only one. We didn't get this in the packet.
Looking for it.
Yeah, I don't have it in our packets.
I got more stuff than
Yeah, our vice chairwoman does.
Well, it's because I printed it at home too.
Somehow they didn't get into our packets. The
So
write-up for
the
this.
lot combination, I guess, in the stipulations,
Number 4?
we signed that today and I turned it to the county, so we're gonna put all the lots as one property, the parcel, 4 parcels into one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So, yeah, I know.
Okay, you're okay? All right. Okay. Anybody from the public want to comment on this particular project? Seeing none, I'm going to close the floor so you can have a seat.
Okay,
Thank you. We appreciate it. All right. I don't see anybody. Commissioner Garrison, you want to start us off?
You know what, that's kind of a funky area right there, because you have industrial use behind it. You have residential that travels up and down that street through that industrial area, and I think what they've done so far with the Hughes building and the landscaping has been done very well. It's very pleasant to look at. It doesn't stand out. The colors are attractive. They blend in really well. You're just extending the existing structure. I think it's going to be great, and I love that they're going to be bringing that much more of a investment into this community, and that showroom is desperately needed. We've never had a showroom before for plumbing, so that's going to be great. So I think it's good overall. It's a very creative and efficient use of the space. So good luck.
Right. Commissioner Kling, do you have any comments before we vote?
I would agree with the former.
All right.
And much needed around here.
Very good. Commissioner Shreve, your comments, please, sir.
No comment. I live near there. I drive by it every day, and I think it's going to be a good addition to the area there.
Okay. Vice Chairwoman.
It's all been said. No comment.
All right. No, I agree. That's a nice expansion. That's good. We like to see that kind of investment coming in and get us some more industrial space, and you and Mr. Backus and you guys, and I think that's great to fill that area up. That's what it was intended for, and So it's a good move forward. Looks attractively to me as well. So with that, we'll entertain a motion, please.
I move to approve DR 21-014 to allow the construction of a warehouse and storage building at 644 and 648 South Willard Street, subject to the following stipulations. 1, the project shall be developed in conformance with the development plans as submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission at the January 24, 2022 meeting. 2, the project shall conform to Code Review Board comments dated December 2, 2021. 3, the area shown on the plans as a storage yard is to be paved in accordance with Section 406 of the city's zoning ordinance. 4, a lot combination of the two parcels with the existing developed parcel to the south shall be approved by the Community Development Department prior to the issuance of building permits. 5, certificate of zoning compliance documenting the completion of conditions shall be issued by the timeframe specified. 6, the project shall comply with all building, engineering, fire department, airport, and FAA requirements.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
I second.
Mr. Shreve, second the motion before we vote. Chairman, you want to come back to the podium real quick?
On my plans, I actually,
Can you come up to the microphone, please?
Yes.
on the plans, on the actual storage yard back behind, it's going to be screen fence around it, but I have chip sealed yard that Mike McClure was going to do for us.
Yeah.
It's black, but
Yeah.
you won't see it.
Yeah. Okay, I don't think that's going to affect that
You
motion.
stipulated asphalt back there, but that's a $100,000 option.
406.
Don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's in accordance with the zoning, so.
And the expansion of what is already done with the existing use is moving over onto these two new parcels.
So the chip seal's acceptable?
Does the wording need to be changed
Yes.
Yes.
for the zoning? Okay. So,
Good catch.
Thank you.
okay, wait. Trying to figure
All
out how
right.
to word it.
Okay, you want to read the amendment, and then we'll get it in a second.
Yeah, it's the area shown on the plans, it doesn't give me details on the amendment itself, but it just refers to section 406, which I haven't memorized. So the area shown on the plan as a storage yard is to be paved in accordance with section 406.
You're going to have to put your, going to get on your phone.
Or,
Yeah. Okay.
or chip sealed.
That's fine.
That's fine? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to amend number 4. We're going to amend number 3. The area shown on the plan as a storage yard is to be paved in accordance with section 406 of the city's zoning ordinance or chip sealed.
Okay. Do I have a second still? That amended motion?
I second the amendment.
A second, Commissioner Shreve. Seconds, the Vice Chairwoman's amendment. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Kling?
Aye.
Commissioner Shreve?
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Maston?
Aye.
Chairman Williams?
Aye. Unanimously carried. Good luck, gentlemen. Thank you very much. All right, the next item on our business is ZO 22001, amendment to the City of Cottonwood zoning ordinances. These are technical update provisions we're making to a number of zones that we considered back in October. And we asked for some consideration on some of them and amendment. Yes, sir.
Chairman Williams, I do need to recuse myself from this as one of the conditions does affect me.
All right, fine, sir. You're recused. All right. So, Jim, you want to take it from here? Or your director?
Yeah, I'll take this one, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Alrighty.
As mentioned, these are several text amendments throughout the zoning ordinance. Most of them were discussed back in October with some preliminary drafts. I'll kind of run through a little bit of what they are. I won't read them word for word. One is our open space definition within our definitions section 201 and our PAD ordinance. There were some discrepancies on what was considered open space and usable open space. So we want to clarify that, make it consistent. There are several zoning districts that require open space, so we want to make sure that one's not doing something that the other one wouldn't be allowed. There was also discussion regarding open space percentage in some of those districts, R3 and R4, dropping that from 30% to 20% regardless of lot size. It would remain 30% in a PAD, but then the commission also has the ability to decrease the required open space in either any of those if you see fit.
On a case-by-case basis.
Correct. Otherwise, the standards would be 20% in the residential zones and 30% in the PAD zone. Street access, section 404 required an easement recorded with the county prior to 1979 to be considered valid to split a property that doesn't abut a public street. So we couldn't find any rhyme or reason for that date. What that meant was if you had a large piece of property, you wanted to split it, both portions of it would have to be adjacent to a public road or have an easement recorded against it prior to 1979. If it didn't, then you couldn't split that property. So this just means that you can put an easement on the property prior to splitting, and that date is irrelevant, doesn't matter. Screening adjacent to single family, we want to change that up just a little bit to allow a solid wall or fence that are 6 feet in height in place of a 10-foot landscape buffer. There's no real good reason to have a 6-foot wall and a 10-foot landscape buffer between single family and multifamily. There's very few instances where it does make sense to have it, and that would be on a case-by-case basis if the commission decides it needed both. But as a standard thing, it just doesn't make sense. You're having a wall and then a 10-foot buffer on the property that's screened. So we're looking to change that. Accessory building sizes in the AR 87 zone, that's the new zoning district that we created last year. All of the other zoning districts have a maximum number of square footage that all of the accessory buildings can be. This is just matching that, so this zone is not left out. Take out manufactured homes in the R2 zone. I've never seen a request for a manufactured home in the R2 zone. This just makes it so it's multifamily. We do have other zonings where manufactured homes are allowed, so this really isn't going to make a big difference on that. Minimum lot size in multifamily zones, R2, R3, and R4. Minimum lot size right now is 7,500 square feet. We want to reduce that to 5,000, especially since most of those zoning districts are in areas that have undersized lots right now. And it's very difficult for people to come in and do something on those lots. Even if they wanted to combine two lots to make a larger one, we're finding that that combination still doesn't quite meet that 7,500 square feet, so they're unable to combine those lots. Maximum density in multifamily zones in the R3 and R4, it's 3,000 square feet per dwelling unit. We want to drop that to 2,500 for lots 10,000 square feet or smaller, and it's kind of the same situation. We're finding lots that otherwise, based on plans, could accommodate a multifamily setup, but because of that minimum lot size, they just can't do it. We've had one recently that has missed it by 250 square feet, and it's an otherwise viable project. Building height in C2, I1, and I2, change it to maximum of 3 stories from 2.5 with written approval from the fire department. And those are going to be only for buildings located more than 300 feet from a residential zone. I know over a number of years we've had that discussion on a half story. So this just makes it that much easier in areas that aren't going to be affected by residential areas. They can go to 3 stories if they want. And if the fire department approves it. And that does eliminate the need for a conditional use permit. Anything higher still needs that conditional use permit. C1, CR remains the same, so that does still require conditional use. This is just for the C2, I1, and I2, those heavier use zones. We want to change the R4 zone to allow multiple single-family dwellings and consider that multifamily. So you put one single-family house on an R4 zone, that's all you can put on there. And the next lot could do 2 duplexes. So it really can't find a good reason to say you can only do one single-family home on a multifamily lot. This helps provide more multifamily on that. We want to add to the permitted uses in the CR zone, all allowed uses that are in the R2 zone subject to the R2 development standards. So anything that's permitted and conditional in R2 would be permitted and conditional in the CR. And add conditional uses, add multifamily as conditional uses subject to R3 standards. So the only residential uses permitted in CR are single family. And then conditional use permit is required if you did R2 residential. RV and manufactured home parks in I2, we want to remove manufactured home parks and RV parks from the list of permitted uses, but add RV parks to conditional uses. So that was overlooked last year a little bit when we made some of those changes. So this just cleans that up, makes it clear, clarifies it. For the record, staff has analyzed these as required by state law and doesn't find that any of this will increase the cost of development for anybody trying to do development. So with that, if you have any questions, comments, concerns?
Commissioner Garrison.
No, I think it cleans up a whole lot of discussions that we had throughout the last year.
Right.
And it makes things a lot more easy for those trying to figure out what they're going to do with their property, you know, what they have to comply with. So I think it does a great job of cleaning up a lot of questionable wording. So good job.
Commissioner Kling, any comments?
No, not at this time. So it's a lot, but I think it makes sense. So not yet.
All right. Vice Chairman.
I just thank you for taking the commission's comments, and I can see how they're incorporated, and I think that this is a nice cleanup.
All right. I would second that. We've been doing this now for a couple of years, and it was sorely needed. A lot of confusion and conflicts between the different zones. So I applaud your efforts to do this, and we'll hope the city council agrees. With that, I'll entertain a motion. Does anybody in the audience want to speak to this? Yes, all right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Your name for the record, sir.
Been on good behavior. My name's Phil Turbell. One of my addresses is 484 Kinder Heights Road here in Cottonwood. I think this is great that you've taken a proactive approach to try and clean up some language and encourage people to take their property and try and solve some issues that we are experiencing in Cottonwood. I think that there's more to come. There'll be some stuff that needs to happen. One of the issues that I brought before Morgan Scott, before Morgan left, was driveway width. I'm a patron of Randall's Restaurant, and every morning when I get ready to pull out of Randall's Restaurant, you take your life in your hands trying to turn out of there, or you drive over the sidewalk. And I said something to Morgan about widening out some driveways when we've got a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, and he said, yeah, that needs to be addressed too. Somewhere along the line, it'd be great if we could take a look at some of that, because we've got driveways that go back lots of years. And I'm assuming there was a code that said driveway entrances shouldn't be over 15 feet wide. And it's difficult to traverse 2 vehicles through that driveway. And that would be great to add something to that the next time that this is looked at.
Right, very good. That's a good suggestion for the staff. And we'll keep working on it. There's still a lot to do, I'm sure, and but we've come a long ways. So with that, I'll entertain a motion, please.
I motion to, I move to recommend approval to the City Council the proposed amendments to sections 201, 404, 407, 414, 415, 416, 419, 420, 421, 422, and 424 regarding multifamily densities and development standards, open space requirements, street access requirements, setback and landscaping requirements, maximum building heights, maximum aggregate accessory building size, and manufactured home and recreational vehicle parks as permitted and conditional uses.
Do I have a second to that motion? I'll second it. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Kling,
Aye.
Commissioner Shreve, recluse, Vice Chairwoman Maston,
Aye.
Chairman Williams.
Aye, unanimously carried. Good deal. Thanks, staff. We appreciate that. Okay, our last item, or next to last item is Cottonwood General Plan 2025 Annual Report. Who's going to do that? Have you gone through all this morass with this? If you can understand it, I worked on the committee when they developed it. I just sort of shook my head. It's so much detail and minutia, but the general idea is really good, but I think we got it in a lot of detail, hopefully in the update coming up that will be more specific and direct. Try to simplify it for everybody to understand it, but has everybody gone through this? Any questions? Some, we've had a lot of action. A lot of the areas just have not had any.
Mr. Chairman, Commission, yeah, as you mentioned, this is just the annual report of the general plan, where we are with a lot of these things. A lot of these things, unfortunately, are not things that we really do as far as an everyday item. They are aspirational goals
Right.
for the future, not to say that they wouldn't ever come to fruition. We try to update the ones that have, where we are with one of them, with some of them been completed. And as you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, we're going to kind of fine tune this at this next general plan update, which we're going to get started on later this year to have ready for the voters by 2024. So if there's any questions on this, comments, concerns.
I haven't. I was looking through this, and this is mostly, just future planning.
Yeah.
I don't really see anything here that directly affects our duties.
This is more of just the report on all these goals throughout the different elements of the general plan, give an update on some of them if we have them, if they're items that we've been working on over the course of the last year, just kind of as an FYI to the commission, and your recommendation on the report to the council.
Yeah, and then we've had change in councils since this is done. They have strategic goals, which may be in conflict with some of the things we're doing or need to be updated. This is a 10-year plan, and the next one will be another 10-year plan, but it's a guideline. It's not a hard and fast document. It's a guideline for us growing as a community, and what are some of our aspirations, and as a community, what do we want to see, what we don't want to see. It's just a little bit overwhelming, I think, sometimes when you and a lot of these are state mandated. This is a state mandated document for all municipalities to do every 10 years.
Yes, it is, Mr. Chairman, and this annual report is also a state requirement that we have to do every year. bring this report to the commission to then recommend it to city council. That is part of the state requirement on maintaining the general plan.
Right. It's just the process, when it was developed, that it come to us for initial review and recommendation overall. And then the city council is actually the one that votes. Then it goes to the citizens. We actually had a general election to vote for the approval of this document by, I don't know, was it the same time as council and votes? I don't remember.
Yes, so the process will, like I said, we'll get started with it later this year to gear up towards what we're going to look at doing, take it through 23 with open houses, public outreach. It'll be brought to this commission couple different times for discussion. Eventually, it'll be brought to the commission to make a recommendation to the council, who then would adopt it by resolution before it goes to the voters in 2024.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion then.
It's just a report. Do we have to approve it?
You have to make recommendation to
Yeah,
city
recommend
council.
to the city council that we're recommending that it go forward.
I move to recommend the proposed updates for the annual report on General Plan 2025 be forwarded to the City Council.
Do I have a second to that motion? I'll second that motion. All righty. Chairman seconds the vice chairman's motion. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Kling.
Aye.
Commissioner Shreve.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Maston.
Aye.
Chairman Williams.
Aye. Unanimously carried. All right. I don't think we have any more discussion items. Yes, sir, would you please? Mr. Turbill.
Same guy, same address. Phil Turbell, Kinder Heights. I've been attending some county planning and zoning and board of supervisors meetings, and they've been dealing with some of these issues, and some of the supervisors were starting to question their chief officer about trying to do a proactive rezone to some property on issues that they're experiencing over and over again. And I think that the general plan will need to be really looked at this year because we are running out of R2 land. I think they read in the paper here the other day there hadn't been a new apartment complex in the city of Cottonwood for 15 years. And now we've got 400 apartments in the pipeline to be built and very little R2 land left. And I think that we'll have to look at, in the general plan, I know you have to, what do you want it to become, and then trying to talk to property owners to request a rezone to that so that there can be future development occur as we try and figure out affordable housing in our community. It's becoming more and more difficult. Kind of the same things happened on mini storage units when I first came here. I thought we had a blessing of mini storage units, and I said, I don't think I want to get involved with that. And we've got 10 times what we had then, and we still don't have any available in the town of Cottonwood. And I'm not sure that we have that much developable land for additional mini storages. So I think we're going to have to take a look at some of those things as part of that general plan review to say, what do we want it to become, and then how do we enable that to become that?
Sounds good. I would agree, sir. All right. The last item, the election of a chair and vice chair. And as everybody knows, this is unfortunately, my last meeting on the Planning and Zoning Commission as chairman. And I want to, first of all, thank the staff. Done a great job. It's been a real pleasure working with you all these years, and just really appreciate all the effort you guys put into making this a really good functioning operation. To my fellow commissioners, thank you. It's been a real pleasure, and to serve with you, and an honor to be on this board for 12 years, and last 4 as chairman. And I will look forward to keeping track, see what you're doing. keep Mr. Backus in line, and Mr. Turbill as well. Yeah. And also to the mayor and council, who graciously appointed me and reappointed me 3 more times. But, you know, it's, what are they saying about old fish? They start stinking a little bit. Maybe old commissioners been around long enough, start stinking a little bit, but that's not really the reason. But thank you all. I wish you the best of luck. You've got a lot of really good development projects on the horizon. And as Mr. Turbill stated, it's going to be some real challenges on there for y'all. And I'm sure you're up to the task. So with that, I'll open nominations for the chairperson. Do I have a nomination for the chairperson, please? Anybody?
I nominate Commissioner Mattson for the chair.
Commissioner Mass. Okay. Do I have a second to that nomination? I'll second that nomination.
Thank you.
All right. Do I have any other nominations for chairperson? Okay. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garrison,
Hi.
Commissioner Kling,
Hi.
Commissioner Shreve,
Aye.
do I include me? Chairman Williams.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Or condolences. No. Now you won't have to do the motions anymore. Okay, now, that's great. All right, now for the election of the vice chair, do I have any nominations for that vice chair? Okay.
Commissioner Garrison, would you like to be vice chair?
I'll take it.
I nominate Commissioner Garrison.
Okay, I'll second that nomination. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, without that, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Kling,
Aye.
Commissioner Shreve,
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Maston,
Aye.
Chairman Williams.
Aye, unanimous carried. Congratulations to both of you. And I think we're going to leave it in good hands with you in your leadership. And Commissioner Shreve, congratulations coming on board. You're making a really good contribution with your experience and your knowledge, and that's great. Commissioner Kling, thank you, dear. Sorry you couldn't be here tonight, but appreciate your efforts as
I
well.
wanted to send you off in the interest action, and it's been a pleasure serving with you as well. Hopefully we can keep this thing going.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sure you'll all do a great job. Do we have any other items?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to thank you for your service to the city on behalf of the staff and everybody who's worked with you. I know I've really enjoyed it, my time here. You've been a wealth of knowledge on this commission. You have taught a lot of us some of the history of certain projects that have come through, why certain things were decided on, some of the codes. It's been a pleasure, and I know we'll definitely miss having you here.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. Second.
Thirded.
All righty. With that, meeting adjourned.